enjoyed these children, enjoyed these songs. Seems like it gets better every year. All right. You say, well, you sure do some silly stuff. We sure do, but the kids love it. And that's why we do it, is because we want to capture their attention so we can tell them a deeper truth. More than 20 years ago, I remember it like it was yesterday. My kids were all at home. They were little. We lived in Beaumont, Texas. And there in Beaumont, they have once a year, I think it's around October, like most fairs are. They have the Southeast Texas State Fair. And it's pretty big to do. Of course, in Texas, you can't have a fair without having a rodeo. I mean, it's just part of it. No matter where you are, there's going to be a rodeo going on if a group of people get together. But it had the normal fair. That's F-A-I-R-F-A-R-E. Food, displays, exhibits, and rides. And my kids wanted to ride the rides. So we paid our money, and we came up to a ride, and it was called the Viking Ship. Uh-oh. And this ride consisted of this ship suspended on a pole with seats on both ends facing the middle. And I thought to myself, this ought to be fun. And I remember climbing up into one end of that, myself, my wife, and my two small boys. They were maybe 10, 11 years old at the time. They were tall enough to meet the height requirement for that ride. Now, my other three children had to stay on the ground because they weren't big enough. And we began to ride this ride, and it consisted of a slow rocking back and forth effect, okay? And each time it rocked, it got higher and higher and higher, till finally, at the apex of this ride, we were past perpendicular. Now, I think rides have probably come a long way in the last 20 years as far as safety and security, as they should, I hope. But I remember this one bar that was in front of us. It had to be 18 inches in front of me. And at the absolute height of that ride, I was scared to death. I thought I was going to die that day. I looked down at my two small boys, and they were trying to get under the seat. They were so scared. Of course, there was no place to go. They were frightened beyond measure. I remember that day I prayed to God that if He would see fit to let me off of that ride and spare the lives of my small children, that I promised Him I would never, ever climb on any ride that had ship as any part of its title. And He was kind to me that day and benevolent, and He allowed my feet to touch back on the ground, and He returned me the lives of my small children. There's been a lot of promises I have made God over the years. Many of them I haven't kept. Sad to say. But that's one promise I kept. I have never set foot back on one of those rides. And do you know why? Fear. Fear is a great motivator. A great, great motivator. With our theme this year in Vacation Bible School has been replace fear with trust. That's a great theme. It's a great theme considering our world today. But so many times for children, that is far beyond their ability to grasp. You see, I believe that in order for children to build upon a framework of godliness, they must be introduced to fear.